I'm Dave Greenwood, and this is Overcoming Distractions. If you are an adult with ADHD, a busy professional, an entrepreneur, a high achiever, or just need some strategies to navigate your adult ADHD, you're in the right place. Who am I? I'm an entrepreneur with ADHD and the author of 2 books, Overcoming Distractions and Overcoming Burnout. I coach and mentor people just like you, and together we navigate the ups and downs of adult ADHD. From getting out of our own way to helping people just like you thrive in the workplace. That's what I do. Want more info on working with me? Hit overcomingdistractions.com. Ready? Let's get to today's podcast. Hey, all my distracted friends, welcome back to the podcast that is just for you, the busy professional that just happens to have a different brain. Hey, it's Dave, your humble host, and we're going to dig back into burnout because sadly, I think we're seeing more and more of it, and maybe there's more awareness about it, which is a good thing, because I don't think there's enough, really good discussions about burnout or healthy discussions about burnout. But we are seeing more and more of it. And honestly, more people are coming to me for help, not only to kind of figure things out. They're in a busy job, busy career, a lot of demands, high achievers, and they just kind of need to figure out some kind of street smart ways to get it all done and not be stressed. But they're also telling me they're feeling burned out. And yeah, some people come to me and they're stressed out, but many people are telling me they actually feel burned out. And that's that chronic stress. Day after day, week after week, and there is a difference, and I think I've discussed this before, where we can get stressed out. That happens to everybody. We maybe we take a long weekend, we get that vacation in, we're rejuvenated, but when we're burned out, sometimes that vacation just doesn't even touch it. We might be able to chill out for a few, but we just get right back into it. So it's that chronic stress day after day, week after week. I think I see this for a couple of reasons. One is because many of us with ADHD, we do need to build habits that allow us to work more efficiently with less stress, less procrastination, more clarity, more control, that type of stuff. But I have to tell you, I am talking with a lot of people who are just working in a dysfunctional workplace or a dysfunctional company. And it's astounding to me, to say the least, in the year 2024, that we still see workplaces and leadership that actually operate in this dysfunctional manner. So, but I think let's get back to ADHD for a minute. We need to be real, and we need to just kind of have an understanding that we do bring a lot to the table when it comes to burnout, and it's just the way our brains work. And I really think that those of us with ADHD can actually burn out much faster, and I think sometimes even much harder than people who don't have ADHD. But again, one of the leading causes of burnout is when there's just chaos day after day in a working environment, and that's not totally our fault. We ADHDers love to blame ourselves for things, but just remember, it's not always our fault. But the only way to kind of get out of burnout or to minimize it is to take some level of control. And if you're working in that chaotic environment, nothing is probably going to change on your end unless you do a little bit of work. So, and nothing will change unless you take a little bit of personal inventory and come up with that self-awareness. I think that's a big piece of it. Now, when I wrote Overcoming Burnout, we spend a little bit of time talking about the concept of being co-founders of our burnout, and I believe that to be absolutely true. And we need to control what we can if we're feeling burned out. So today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to run through some questions that I would love for you to ask yourself if you're feeling maybe a little more than stressed and you're just in the thick of it day after day. And I want you to grab a notepad for this one if you can. If you're on the treadmill or you're driving to work, go ahead, continue to listen to me. But I think it's important to maybe, again, listen to this episode when you can sit down and just jot some notes down. And I think that's important to kind of do the work on this one. This is part 1 of 2. I have 20 questions I'm going to ask you to go through, and there are 10 in this episode. So stay tuned for part 2, but this is part 1. So let's go. And these are, I will admit, these are random questions about maybe identifying if you're burned out or not. So, all right, you ready? First one, how would you describe your current level of stress and exhaustion related to work and, even other parts of your life? Are you exhausted before you even get to work? That's an important thing to understand. Is there a level you want to put on it? Maybe like a 1 to 10 that you could put on your stress. Are you frustrated or even becoming hopeless? So many people I talk to are like, I'll never be able to make any type of change in this job or this company right now. And how is your stress coming out? Are you angry? Do you have stomach issues and stomach aches and headaches? And are you just completely tired all the time? So how would you describe your current level of stress? The next question is, what specific aspects of your job or your working environment do you find the most draining? And I think this is important because in many cases, it's not the entire job that burns us out. Sometimes it's just parts of our job or parts of our career. Things that are draining us are things we're probably complaining about over and over again. So, and again, this is so basic, but you got to identify things before you can begin to actually fix it or correct it or change it or eliminate it. And I put in Overcoming Burnout that, and we shouldn't just sit there and vent and complain for hours and hours, because that's not completely healthy. But I think complaining a little bit does bring things to the surface. If we're complaining about something over and over and over again, that thing needs to be fixed. So list out the parts of your job or your career or that working environment that are just draining you the most. Next, can you identify any patterns or triggers that contribute to feelings of burnout? What comes up again and again that can set you off, piss you off? Is it being double booked for meetings all the time and then coworkers or leadership ignoring that? Is it unrealistic expectations from your boss or even your clients if you're an entrepreneur, you're self-employed? Is it dealing with certain people that instantly cause you to have negative feelings? We all have those people, right? That like our shoulders tighten up when they walk into a room, right? I know you're thinking of them right now. But I think many of us can identify certain events or other things that instantly just kind of put us in a bad mood. So, all right, next, and this is important. They're all important, but how are your sleep patterns and overall energy levels lately? I could probably answer this one for you, because everybody that I work with one-on-one has some challenges with sleep, but it's important to have some awareness about your sleep and your energy. And I know, and you may think I'm talking to you right now, directly to you, the individual, but many of us with ADHD already struggle with sleep. But if you're burned out, this can only get worse and even get more erratic when it comes to sleep. So take note if sleep is becoming a bigger problem. Are you sleeping more? Are you sleeping less? Are you waking up at all hours of the night? Is your sleep just, quite frankly, out of control? Are you waking up literally stressed out at 2 or 3 a.m.? Or are you going to bed at 2 or 3 a.m.? That's a whole nother discussion we're going to have soon. So, all right, next question I want you to ask yourself. Have you noticed any changes in your mood or your attitude towards work? Burnout is classified by the experts and even by the World Health Organization as feelings of cynicism and resentment, as well as underachieving. So are you cynical? Are you starting to resent people around you? And do you feel like your efforts are either unrecognized or not enough? Those are some of the big ones that I think, we're cynical. We think everybody, everything is just like, blah, blah, blah. Are people just pissing you off? You actually resent them. You resent them entering the room or how they treat you. And then I think, again, do you just feel like you've never done enough, or you're underachieving, or your work isn't good enough? I think that's a big thing. Next, are you finding it difficult to detach from work, thoughts or responsibilities when you're actually not on the clock? And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who I think are legitimately burned out at this point. They're just thinking about work long after they leave the office. They just can't shut it off. And this isn't good work. This isn't like good thoughts. These are like negative thoughts, like, I'm on deadline. These are the things I forgot. My boss is going to yell at me tomorrow. My clients are going to be pissed because I didn't get this done in time, or what have you. And I know many of us with ADHD might be doing this because we didn't get what we needed to, get done. We procrastinated. We lost energy. And then maybe that last part of the day was unproductive. And I think that probably sounds familiar because I will say that that's the way my brain works as well. So, but again, thinking about work 24/7 is, in a negative way, is one of those examples. I think the other part is we're always thinking about what we didn't get done. But when we're chronically stressed out and burned out and work consumes us, and many of us go home thinking about work, and then we get detached from our family. So are you bringing those negative work thoughts home? Okay, do you feel like you have a healthy work-life balance? I'm not a huge fan of that term. And I got to find a new one. It's been beaten to death, but I think you understand the question. Is there a balance between your personal life and your professional life? Are you working all night to catch up? Are you working weekends when you shouldn't be? Are you working on vacation or missing vacation days, or hopping on meetings when you're trying to have a vacation with your family? And if you do go out and try and have fun, are you actually having fun, or are you just in worry mode all the time? Can you actually enjoy your time off? That's the big question to that. Have there been any recent changes or challenges in your personal life that might be impacting your ability to cope with work stress? We can get on social media and everybody talks about burnout and work. and you're working too much. Set boundaries and all this stuff. And there was some validity to some of this, but it's a little too simplistic. I think what these so-called gurus do fail to mention, and I don't know why it doesn't come up more, is that there may be things going on in your personal life. Are you stressed out about various things at home or with your kids? Do you have caregiving responsibilities? Like maybe you have an aging parent that you are spending more hours taking care of and having to run over to your parents' house, or maybe they're living with you, and you're tired. And are you bringing that stress into the workplace? And then going to a demanding job and only pour more fuel on those burnout feelings, right? So we need to consider what's going on in our personal lives. And this needs to be discussed more and more, because I will tell you, and maybe we need to do a whole entire episode on this, because there is a growing, and I don't have all the data and the facts and the percentages and all that stuff, but it's just coming that there are more and more people approaching retirement age and elderly and now than ever before, and it's gonna become a challenge for many of us, including you someday. So, okay, are you able to effectively communicate your needs and boundaries to your colleagues or your supervisors? And again, boundaries are not a secret weapon, but if you have none, it really is a good first step. And a lot of people I've worked with, we do actually try and set some of those basic boundaries. It could be blocking out time and ignoring your email. It could be saying no or not overcommitting to projects. But again, boundaries aren't a secret weapon. There's a lot more to this. We train people how to treat us, and a lack of boundaries only allows people, quite frankly, to just kind of walk all over us, and we take it. So if you can't say no, or you're what we would call a people pleaser, you're going to get burned out. You can stick up for yourself diplomatically, tactfully, and you can be kind at the same time. So boundaries are really a good first step, and you can like test your no, test some small boundaries, like I said, such as the blocking out time, ignoring others, not picking up the phone, or doing what I would call the stop, drop, and roll. And my good friend Diane says that as well, as, every time somebody asks you to do something, you literally just stop what you're doing, no matter what it is, and go ahead and take care of their needs above yours. So testing your no, blocking out a little time. Maybe you're going to shut the notifications off on Teams for a couple hours, whatever it is. I think that's a good first step. I am convinced, you may disagree with me, but I'm convinced that no one will miss you for an hour or two if you just kind of block out time and try and get some stuff done. And I will tell you, it will make a big difference. All right, last one for this episode. How do you typically cope with stress or pressure in your life? Both inside and outside of work. So, are you doing anything to relieve your stress? Are you going for a simple walk? Are you hitting the gym for 30 minutes? Are you hanging out with friends? Are you cranking up your favorite tunes in the car? Okay? If the answer is no, I just really, really, really want you to start now. Do something. If you are a busy adult with ADHD, you're incredibly stressed out, and you feel burned out, you can book a quick chat with me. We can hop on Zoom for 15 minutes or so, see if we're a good match. I've worked with people who struggling to get stuff done as a busy professional with ADHD. I've worked with people who are burned out, and I have worked with people when ADHD and burnout smash into each other, and that happens a lot. So I would love to see if we're a good fit. You don't have to just go on day after day after day feeling like this and feeling hopeless in a job, a career, or a business that is just kind of crushing your soul. So please reach out to me and just hit overcomingdistractions.com, click that button. Stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to have 10 more questions I want you to ask yourself, and that is coming up very soon. All right, gang, chill out, crank up those cartoons, go for a walk, and I will catch you next time.